The Nikon Z8 was only released in 2023, yet discussions about its successor are already gaining momentum. The original Z8 earned praise for condensing the professional-grade performance of the Z9 into a more portable, accessible body. For many photographers and filmmakers, it was the perfect compromise between power and practicality. Now, as talk builds around the Nikon Z8 II, you might think, is Nikon moving too fast in its effort to refine a camera that is still considered one of the best on the market? Or will it blur the line between necessary innovation and the relentless cycle of fast tech? The challenge Nikon faces is unique. On one hand, the Z8 is still fresh, delivering a 45.7 megapixel stacked CMOS sensor, 20 frames per second raw burst, 493-point autofocus, and 8K video recording, all in a body smaller and lighter than the Z9. It remains an outstanding hybrid tool for professionals, and sales continue to be strong. On the other hand, Nikon cannot afford to ignore the pace of the competition. Canon's EOS R5 II is a powerful alternative. Sony's A7R5 dominates in resolution, and the A9 III pushes speed to new heights with its global shutter. Nikon needs the Z8 II to stand shoulder to shoulder with these rivals while avoiding unnecessary overlap with the flagship Z9 II, which will likely appear first. Another difficulty lies in perception. Many Z8 owners still view their camera as a long-term investment, and introducing a successor too quickly could create consumer fatigue. Nikon has already dealt with recalls on the Z8 related to strap lugs and mounts, as well as criticisms about battery endurance and heat buildup during long video sessions. If the Z8 II is positioned as a fix for these issues, Nikon risks frustrating current Z8 owners who may feel their purchase has been prematurely sidelined. Yet if Nikon waits too long, it risks losing momentum in a market where speed, resolution, and video innovation continue to evolve rapidly. Editing has always been the biggest barrier for creators. Complicated timelines, endless layers, and hours of rendering. But imagine skipping all that and turning your idea into a viral-ready video in under a minute. That's the promise of CLIPWISE.AI. Today, we'll show you how it works, why it's different from traditional tools, and whether it's worth your money. CLIPWISE is built on a simple, form-based workflow. No confusing menus or advanced editing skills required. You just type your idea, pick your settings, and the AI does the rest. For example, let's try this prompt. Create a 30-second cinematic video narrating a creepy Reddit story about someone who hears whispers from their closet every night. Use a faceless narrator, eerie background music, suspenseful visuals, and text overlays. In less than a minute, CLIPWISE generates the full video.
Every night, just as I'm about to sleep, I hear whispers coming from my closet.
Script? Done. Voiceover? Done. Captions? Synced. Visuals? Added. And the best part, you can still tweak anything you don't like. The platform also comes with multiple themes: cinematic, anime, cartoon, even children's book style, so you can instantly adapt content for different audiences. This flexibility is a huge advantage if you're making content across niches like storytelling, education, or marketing. Normally, to produce a single polished video, you'd need hours in Premiere Pro or Final Cut, or you'd hire an editor. CLIPWISE essentially condenses that entire process into just one form. For solo creators, it means faster uploads. For marketers, it means scaling campaigns quickly. And for beginners, it lowers the learning curve completely. Now let's talk cost. CLIPWISE is surprisingly affordable. Plans start at just $10 per month. For the annual plan, you save up to 60%. To put that in perspective, professional editing software can cost $20 to $50 a month, not including stock footage, plugins, or hiring freelancers. CLIPWISE cuts that down dramatically while still giving you quality content in minutes. If you want to test it yourself, check the link in the description, try out a few prompts, and see how quickly your ideas transform into Speculation about the Z8 II centers on meaningful performance upgrades. Video is expected to be the main battlefield. While the current Z8 shoots 8K at 30p, the Z8 II will reportedly allow 8K at 60p with improved thermal design to minimize overheating. This could make it one of the few compact bodies capable of unlimited 8K recording without relying on external cooling solutions. Filmmakers may also gain oversampled 4K at 120p, producing sharp slow-motion footage that surpasses what most hybrid cameras can currently deliver. Nikon's purchase of Red Digital Cinema has only added weight to the idea that the Z8 II will include advanced internal codecs, possibly expanding internal 12-bit NRAW and ProRes RAW HQ support. Still, photographers could also see a leap. Rumors suggest the Z8 II will push past the Z8's 20 frames per second RAW bursts, potentially offering 30 frames per second RAW with full autofocus and exposure tracking. A pre-burst mode might even allow frames to be captured just before the shutter is fully pressed, reducing the risk of missing decisive moments in sports or wildlife work. Autofocus refinements are likely too. Nikon already has one of the most reliable AF systems in the mirrorless market, but AI-driven upgrades, perhaps labeled as 3D Tracking Plus, could make subject detection and eye recognition more reliable, even in complex or low-light environments. Ergonomics may also see modest but valuable updates. A deeper hand grip could make handling long telephoto lenses more comfortable, while the electronic viewfinder might match the Z9's 5.76 million dot resolution. The LCD screen is expected to become brighter and sharper, improving usability in direct sunlight. Weight could be reduced further through carbon fiber reinforcement, and weather sealing might climb to a higher standard, with some suggesting IP52 level resistance. These refinements may sound incremental, but for professionals who use their gear in demanding environments, they can make a significant difference. The difficulty in analyzing the Z8 II lies in the fact that, at this point, it's still all rumor. Nikon has made no official announcements, and timelines remain speculative. Some believe the Z8 II will be released as early as late 2025, while others argue that early 2026 is more realistic. There's also debate about what sensor the camera will use. While some whispers suggest a 67-megapixel sensor might be possible, most analysts expect Nikon to retain the proven 45.7-megapixel stacked CMOS design, perhaps with refinements in readout speed and noise performance. Skepticism is warranted. Nikon is still focused on maintaining the Z9 as its flagship, and will likely prioritize a Z9 II before unveiling the Z8 II. If the Z9 II doesn't introduce groundbreaking changes, the Z8 II may follow in similar evolutionary footsteps. It's also important to remember that many so-called leaks are based more on educated speculation than insider knowledge. For example, while graphene-based thermal solutions sound exciting, there's little evidence that Nikon is ready to mass-produce such technology in a mid-range body. Similarly, battery improvements are expected, but a switch to solid-state cells within the next 2 years seems overly optimistic. The real risk for Nikon is balancing expectations. Over-promising or rushing development could create problems similar to the Z8's early recalls. The company will need to ensure that the Z8 II isn't seen as a quick fix, but as a genuine evolution that justifies its existence. Otherwise, it risks being dismissed as too soon or overshadowed by the Z9 II. Pricing strategy will be critical. The Z8 launched at $3,999, while the Z9 debuted at $5,500. Current predictions suggest the Z8 II will fall around $4,500. This positions it as a value flagship, more expensive than the Z8 but significantly cheaper than the Z9. Whether this increase is justified will depend on how many of the rumored features actually materialize. Release timing remains uncertain. Nikon's track record suggests a cycle of about 2 to 3 years for major updates. If the Z8 II is released in late 2025, that would make it roughly 2.5 years after the Z8, aligning with the company's past strategies. However, Nikon's handling of recalls and supply chain challenges could influence the schedule. Some argue that Nikon may want to release the Z9 II first in 2025, then follow with the Z8 II in early 2026 to avoid internal competition. The Nikon Z8 II represents both opportunity and risk. On paper, it's shaping up to be a powerful evolution. Faster bursts, smarter autofocus, 8K 60p video, improved thermal design, a sharper EVF, and potentially better battery life. For photographers and filmmakers who demand maximum flexibility, these upgrades could be transformative. Yet, the risk lies in perception and timing. Nikon must convince professionals that the Z8 II is more than a rushed response to recalls or competitive pressure. It needs to prove that the Z8 II is a genuine refinement worth the extra investment. For current Z8 owners, the decision will come down to necessity. If you need 8K/60p, unlimited recording, or 30 FPS raw bursts for professional work, the Z8 II could be worth waiting for. If not, the Z8 remains one of the most capable cameras available, and buying now means avoiding months or years of waiting. For new buyers, the calculus is similar. The Z8 is still excellent, but the Z8 II could offer refinements that push hybrid performance even further. Thanks for watching.